Welcome to the Service to Syndication podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world who have worn the uniform of this great country, those who provide services to our men and women in uniform, and other service-oriented professionals to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer your dreams and goals in real estate and to use this wealth creation vehicle so you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of generosity and prosperity. If what you desire is time, lifestyle, and financial freedom, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, the knowledge, experience, skills, so you can go out and crush it in whatever real estate asset class you desire. So grab a pencil and paper, sit back, and enjoy the ride on the Service to Syndication podcast. Hello, my servicemen and women and other service providers. Welcome to another episode of the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Cedric Marlowe. I am a U.S. Navy vet. Here on the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, we interview the most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world, where most have donned the uniforms of our great country. We aim to provide the tool sets, the mindsets, and skill sets for you to achieve your personal and business goals while using real estate as a wealth creation vehicle to help you live a more successful, happy, and fun-filled life. I am super excited today because I have with me Mr. Brian J. Esposito. He is a strategic asset agnostic investor. But before I properly introduce our exciting guest to you, I want to ask a favor of you. If you get some type of insight, mindset shift, if you learn a new skill, new information, receive inspiration or motivation to go out and take some progress, please share this episode with some of your friends. Send it to someone you know who might be or could be interested in real estate. Send it to someone you know. Share it on your social media, post it on your wall. Help us spread our message while you help others. And for all of you who shared this episode, I want to say thank you. Again, everyone, I have with me Mr. Brian J. Esposito. He is a global entrepreneur, investor, and business builder with over 2 decades of experience creating and scaling companies across a wide range of industries. He's the founder and president of Esposito Intellectual Enterprises, a holding company built from more than 20 years of startups, strategic investments, and joint ventures worldwide. Known as a powerful connector of executives, Brian has worked across commercial real estate, hospitality, technology, media, energy, and digital assets, helping businesses grow through strategic partnerships and long-term vision. At his core, Brian is driven by collaboration, integrity, and building value at scale. All right. First off, welcome, Brian.
Cedric, such a pleasure and honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. So before you became this very successful person I see in front of me, in about 2 to 3 minutes, give our listeners a little bit of your backstory, like where you grew up, how was your upbringing, and what in your past shifted your mindset into becoming the person you are today?
Oh yeah, that's a lot to unpack, but I'll see how far I can go. Born and raised in an entrepreneurial household. Grateful that my mom was at home right when I got off the school bus because my dad was outside working his ass off and providing for our family. So that's the environment I grew up in, and that's what I'm used to. I mean, there's so many different households with different environments, but that's what I was accustomed to. And the sacrifices that I saw him make, working 7 days a week, working on holidays, working on weekends. And to me, that's normal, which is not normal. You need a balance, but that's how I'm wired. That's in my DNA. Grew up always going out and working. I was never handed anything for free. I had to learn the value of hard work and the reward for that, which is either a attaboy or some sort of financial compensation. And early on, I just went out and found opportunities to create money for myself. I was the youngest of 4, so I have 3 older siblings that are 10 to 13 years older than me. And I remember a lot of the time they're like, "How's this little kid have money all the time?" Because I'd be outside mowing lawns, shoveling driveways, anything, really anything, helping people clean out their garages, and that just led me to always learn how to provide value, learn how to go out in the world and ask, "What can I do for you? How can I help you?" And the return of that was being valued. And late 90s, I built the first B2B, B2C e-commerce platform for the beauty industry. So great timing, taught myself how to code. I launched over 1,200 products and brands through that platform. I was Amazon.com's first beauty retailer. I was Jet.com's first retailer. And I launched over 1,200 brands. And I work with some of the most famous, influential athletes, entertainers, musicians, actors, and actresses that you can think of. I help them roll out and distribute their beauty and personal care brands. But I used that company to just keep building. You know, I was always self-funded my entire career and ecosystem, which is very painful. Never took any investor money or outside capital. And 25 years later, my private holding company has grown to over 115 different companies. We operate in over 25 different industries. And then I proudly took over a public company in August of 23 as their CEO, known as Diamond Lake. And I've been a leader in tokenization and digital assets and how that can be applied to businesses and companies, especially commercial real estate. That's one of our biggest move the needle industries that we're involved in. And what is the future of financial mechanisms look like when there's a token applied to it? And how do you do that in a regulated and really compliant environment, which again, we respect and we're leaders on.
Wow. All right, we can wrap this up now. Thank you.
I'm still trying to wrap up my life, so I'm glad you figure you can do it for me.
Yeah. So, Brian, you've been an entrepreneur since the age of 8, even working in your father's warehouse, filling, nail polish bottles. How did those early experiences help your work ethic and basically entrepreneurial identity?
Yeah, some of those same emotions still apply today. There's something magical, whatever industry you're in, when you go from nothing to creating something. So you touched on being at a young age in my dad's warehouse, and I'd have components that were nothing, right? They weren't a finished product, and I would take a little glass nail polish bottle, I'd fill it with a nail treatment formula, put a little brush, the cap in it, and I'd put that in a little box, and I'd put 6 of these little boxes into a little master display, and then I would put 24 of these 6 completed little boxes into a shipping box and tape it up. And that was going to a store or a salon or a spa or a distributor that wanted it. So that entire process from creating something and then just being blown away that somebody somewhere in the world ordered it was pretty cool, right? And so if you look at that mechanism, applies to anything, like creating a piece of music, same type of thing. You go into a room with nothing, you write a song, you have songwriters, you bring in musicians, you get a studio, and all of a sudden, an hour, 8 hours, 8 weeks later, however long it takes you, you have a song, and then you try to distribute it, try to get it out into the world for people to listen to it. That again, I can just keep going on and on. It starts with nothing or a concept to a finished product, and then as a marketer, which I am at heart, is really exciting on how do you get people to be interested in that product, that piece of content, IP, or a building. How do you create value around it? How do you appreciate it? So these are all the things that I think of, especially when you're self-funding it, right? Because your ass is on the line. So your cards are maxed out. Been there. Every line of credit you have with a bank is late. Been there on payments, and then you're just trying to build because you have this vision, but you have this pull. Entrepreneurs have this pull that they know they're supposed to go out in the world and make their mark. But I think in today's world, which is really exciting, you can do it in a lot less riskier fashion than I had to do it, and then people had to do it decades before me. There's so many more tools and resources and access today that can help create a really de-risked way of doing it, where you don't upset your household, you don't piss off your spouse, you don't tap into your kids' college funds. Like, there's just ways to do it in a more systematic and calmer approach, as I don't think you have to go big or go home, right? I don't think that has to be the mentality. I think you can do it in a very safe process that's good for your mental health and wellness, and it's good for your balance of whatever life you're living.
Okay. So do you think those early days, being in your father's warehouse, being in, I'm assuming like the beauty supply industry, kind of helped you move a lot faster, further in that industry as you are now?
Definitely, it's access, right? Because was he created something amazing. So having that credibility and reputation behind you was very important. But I will say, when I took over the beauty company in the late '90s, I had to reinvent it. So it was still difficult because I was going into a new medium, which was internet, right, or e-tailing. It had never been done before. So had a huge target on my back from the traditional ways of moving products. Were very pissed off at me because I opened up a new distribution channel, just like everybody was pissed off at Amazon. All the companies that were suing Amazon to get their products off of there, they're now their biggest partners, right? It's just the evolution of adapt or die. But every industry I went into, I got my ass kicked. I learned where the bodies are buried. I partnered with the wrong people. I got used, abused, and stolen from. But I welcome that because it shows me the lay of the land, right? I need to get smacked around to learn. So I'm not opposed to it. But now when your spider senses go up a little bit higher, when you have more history behind you, more life experiences, and I can meet somebody now and say, oh, they're just like Tom back in 2012 from this company. Like I can just see all the same similarities and different names, different clothes, but the inside morals and values or their moral compass is off, and I can spot that. Which is why I'm grateful in this chapter of my life where I get to tell people no. That's true freedom, when you can tell somebody, no, I do not want to work with you. I do not want you in my life. I don't care how much money we can make. So when you're able to start doing that and not be guided by your financial responsibilities, and we've all had to take gigs and jobs or opportunities that maybe we didn't want because we had bills, and I totally respect and admire that. But you want to get off that hamster wheel as quickly as possible and start focusing on great assets that you love, great people that you love working with, and either building or fixing or starting companies and surrounding yourself with the right people that really support you and believe in you and provide positivity in your life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're an entrepreneur, you've done those deals with that person that, you just didn't quite feel right about, but you were in need of that capital injection, and you're just like, even though you still went ahead with the deal, you're just kind of like, you still didn't just feel right about it. But when you get, like you're saying, to your level to now where you can just meet a person and say no right
Oh
away,
yeah,
I mean, that's huge.
it's a great feeling. It's an allergic reaction, I call it. Like,
Yeah.
and I try to be courteous about it. I never want to be rude to people, but there's definitely times where I'm like, no, you need to get away from me right now, right? It's funny, human behavior, because I've also was very interested in psychology growing up and marketing and just being an entrepreneur. But the psychology of people, if you can take a moment and analyze a little bit of like who you may be going into business with, is really important. Because my company motto, my private holding company, is time is our most precious commodity. So if you start to really, really cherish the seconds on the clock and who you share those seconds with, you can start to rewire your brain and make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people. I mean, anybody listening, and probably yourself included, Cedric, I mean, there's been people that come in your life or deals that come in your life that are too good to be true, right? And you spend so much time and energy on it. Well, it's because the deal was too good to be true, and when you really can take a step back out of that environment and look at it as an outsider and analyze it, and you can just say, no, this isn't right. And if it's right, they'll come back to you. Another a really good strategy I use is, okay, yeah, well, let's see what we could do. Talk to our compliance, talk to our legal, talk to our private security division and do background checks. Even if you don't have those things, throw that out there. And if they're willing to go through that process, well, then there's a good chance that they're legitimate. Odds are you're never going to hear from them again because they were just trying to either steal your network, use you to give them credibility, which is a huge play that all these terrible people try to do. Or waste your time. The money comes and goes, but your time, that is finite, and you need to use it very wisely.
Yeah, totally agree. Your first major venture was taking over the Inkwell Coffeehouse back in '99. What lessons did you learn from that business
Yeah.
that still apply today?
Oh, it's iconic that the 30,000 square foot of that square foot, 30,000 view of that is the building was owned by my dad. So our family was not owners or operators of the Inkwell. It was started by Joe DeStasio in the 60s. So many famous musicians and singers and entertainers and poets would go in there and create. And it's just such a cool vibe. There's nothing like it today, actually. It's still a very unique concept. Bruce Springsteen talks about it a bunch. He writes about it in his books, and he wrote "Born to Run" in the Inkwell and discusses about that. So when reason I took it over, I was going to Monmouth University, and the previous owners just disappeared. They didn't show up. So my dad was like, "All right, well, I got to find a tenant." And I was like, "Well, no, the Inkwell can't close. That's an institution. That's like I don't know. It's like trying to close Radio City. Like you can't do that. It's not reality." So, like everything else in my life, stupidly, I jump in, like, let's go. So going to college, and playing baseball, and trying to run a late night restaurant that goes from, the hours of 5 in the evening to 5 in the morning. That's just the operation. So it was a lot. My brother came in, and he was a broker at Morgan Stanley at the time, and so he ultimately kept it going after I stepped aside after about 2 years and focused on just keep building my entrepreneurial journey. But answer your question in like a 30-minute response, which I apologize about, is the energy in that place insane. It made me fall in love more than ever with musicians and creators, because you're sitting there drinking a Dutch coffee, having a grilled chicken salad, Munster pita, and all of a sudden someone would just get up and start playing the guitar and sing and play the most beautiful song you've ever heard. So I love the fact that they had no fear. I love the fact of watching somebody just get up in front of a packed restaurant and just play or read a poem. So it really, really made my fondness and love for music to another level, which is why I got really heavily involved in the music industry. So, and then there's the work. The workload is insane, especially in the restaurant industry. Thankfully, in that unique situation, there was 40 years of a brand built. So I was blessed to walk into a successful operating business. I didn't have to brand it. People knew it. There's a 4 million. I had my first date at the Inkwell stories. I kept hearing them over and over and over again. And then the kids of these people would come in and say, "Oh, I had my first date like my parents." So there's just this beautiful generational storyline there. But I'm making coffee. I'm in the back making the cheeseburger. I'm up front trying to ring somebody up. I'm taking care of a customer that's not happy, like you've seen in the restaurant. So I got to learn in a crash course every aspect of the business. And then a lot of cash, right? So then, especially at that time, so how do you properly protect the cash? Get it into the bank so nobody steals it or nobody's got sticky fingers that's on your staff. So you're on guard. You are on guard 24/7, and for me, not sleeping at all from those hours to just rolling right into school and then trying to keep my baseball career going. It was a lot. So, but I'm trained to work. That's if you told me I got to dig a hole, I'm going to dig it a goddamn best hole. It's going to take me 24 hours to do it, but I'm going to do it. So that's just who I am.
Yeah, I love it. You just mentioned that the Inkwell, that you managed it basically or ran it for about 2 years. And then after that, you started to focus a little bit more on your entrepreneurial journey. Was there a defining moment early on when you knew entrepreneurship was more than just a job, more of your purpose?
Yeah, I always felt that as a purpose forever, as long as I can remember. I never woke up and said, "Oh, I can't wait to go work for an accounting firm," or "I can't wait to go work for Pfizer." Like I just never thought about anything in the corporate world. I just thought about I just want to go out there and create. And money is never has been, which I wish it was at some point. It's never been my North Star. It's never been my motivator. I just love working with great people. I love creating, and the byproduct of that is success, whatever you want to call it. Like if you work hard and you dedicate your life to something, and you're smart about it, and you can create a business, your lifestyle dictates if you consider it a good business or not. Like if you don't need anything and you don't want anything, you don't need a Ferrari, or you don't need to go and travel to south of France every year and spend a ton of money, then you don't need a big business, right? It's all relevant to what your personal needs and demands are. So people that don't demand much can have a little business and have the best life, right? Where they have good balance of their personal desires and dreams, and they have a business that's that's sustainable. But what I love doing is I love just creating really big movements. I've been involved in some great big movements, and I think probably because of the beauty company and what I wasn't ready for that success. I mean, I just turned the internet on and orders kept flying in. So, probably to my detriment, I kind of maybe thought that life was that easy, but it should be. Like, find the need, fill a need. It never goes out of style.
Right.
But it's having the right access and the right support around you, keep that engine running.
Yeah. Okay. So Esposito Intellectual Enterprises has expanded, as you had mentioned earlier, to like 25 plus industries, over 110 entities with 200 plus ventures, joint ventures worldwide. What's the secret to managing such diversity without losing focus?
It's everybody's wired different. So I answer that in a couple of ways. To
Okay.
me, I work better with more. The more dots there are, the more that I can connect and the more opportunities I can create. And I could share resources and I could just make things happen. A lot of people just can only do that with one thing and they work better with one item. So that's first and foremost. Secondly is, again, being surrounded by the right people. Like, thankfully, after 20 plus years, I'm not waking up to fires I got to put out 24/7. I'm not waking up to stress or toxicity or just drama, right? I mean, that's draining. That is so draining. And by the time you do that routine with most people, whether your personal life or your professional life, by the time you go through that, you're just exhausted to even try to work. So how can you create a successful company, or how do you even want to do it after just being so drained? So again, it's some people got to make tough decisions and fire people from your life. Anybody that's providing negative energy around you or toxicity, they need to go, or they need to be put in the corner and come back with a better attitude. So once you can get that all out of the way, you'd be very surprised how much you can accomplish, and you'd be really surprised on your time being utilized in a much more productive, positive manner, which is finally where I'm at. We're not robots. There's bad things happen here and there, and it's fine. It's so much more manageable than just constant nonsense and BS.
Yeah. I tell people this one story. You had mentioned about the negative people, getting rid of them. I'll never forget, like I had a friend, or I have a friend, and I'd have the most beautiful day. Like every light was green. I didn't have to stop anywhere. Gas was full in my tank. Everything was just a beautiful day. Sun was shining, no clouds in the sky. So anyway, I'd call my friend, all bubbly, like, "Hey, how you doing?" And this would be it. What you won't believe.
Here we go.
Like, here goes my day.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. It's
You
all it
know,
takes. It's all it takes.
and I'm telling you, that happened numerous times. To one day I called and they started, and I was like, "That's it.
Good for you.
That's enough. Listen, if I call you and you got to start off like this, no need to answer the phone." I'm
Yeah,
like, I can't do it. That being negative all the time, that drains
yeah,
my energy. It just drains something totally out of me. So I definitely get what you're saying. You got to get rid of those negative people out of your life, because to me, it starves your creativity
sure.
as well.
Negativity is unfortunately more powerful than positivity. It's just whatever it does in the brain. It's just that's the reality. Even the news they made all their money off of that, and they used to have a little fluff segment that was like at the end for like 30 seconds, and Lassie had 18 pups today. Like, they don't even do that anymore. So it's all people. I don't know what it is. Again, the psychology of me is always analyzing. Like, I would love to just be drawn to this great positive whatever energy,
Right.
but people love doom and gloom, but there is a piece of it that we all kind of need to. We all need something to reference to feel grateful for our lives, right? I can wake up every morning, and no matter what I'm going through, I can say, hey, at least I'm not in the Gaza Strip right now. Like, there's just things we can say that we should be grateful, and sometimes we need. Oh shit, that's bad over there. I'm glad I got a roof. I got a snack in the cabinet. I got water, and I got some
Yep.
clothes. Like, there's just things we should all be grateful for and start our day like that. And sometimes we need a reference point to keep us in check, because we're very blessed here in the U.S. Even the worst of the worst situations, there are opportunities for people at least to find food or something. But a lot of parts around the world, that's not their reality, and they don't know how to get out of that. So I don't want to get on that tangent, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that sometimes we need a reference point of somebody like your friend Negative. I would spin it after that phone call, like, well, I'm glad I don't have to wake up in his brain every day because that's tough. And you say a
Yeah.
prayer for them, right? You just,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's just how I've managed those types of people where, it's tough. People, it's not easy. Life is not easy.
Yeah. Now, you often talk about integrity and meaningful relationships as core to your company's philosophy. How do you ensure those values are alive in EIE as it grows?
It's kind of easy at this point.
Right.
So that holding company is owned by me. So the culture is the same. It's always been, again, based off of integrity, morals, values. I think the empathy ingredient has gotten bigger because I need to see empathy in people I work with. I need people to treat others fairly and kindly, no matter what's in their bank account or not, or what's on their wrist or in their driveway. So I need to see people feeling for other people. And if I don't see that, goodbye. So when you have me and the culture creator of what I built, bringing people in to that environment or that culture, whether as a internal member of the team or the outside party that we partner with, if I don't see the same reflection in those people, then you got to go. Good luck to you. Find somewhere else. Like, so that's how it's been very easy to keep that culture alive. And I've even people that have come in have educated me and helped me evolve. So as long as the framework, which should be pretty freaking simple, just the golden rule, this is all I'm trying to create here. If you can't do that, and you got bigger problems than being part of my ecosystem, my culture, or my the culture I've created here. So to me, it's pretty basic foundations of life. No matter what religion you are, or just be a decent human being, and then
Right.
you're welcome to be here and grow with us and build with us.
Yeah. So, can you tell us about a time about a partnership or a project that really seemed unlikely at first, but became very transformational?
Yeah, there's quite a few of those stories. So I probably what happened in the music industry because that's an ugly beast if you're in the wrong system. So I went into that because we were making products for and distributing products for some very big bands and pop stars. And one of those products sold to L'Oreal or Revlon for like almost $1 billion. So
Wow.
my model was I was the ant farm, and I'm grateful for it. I was the person that was distributing the products. But when these brands were sold to a L'Oreal or Revlon, an Estee Lauder, and LVMH, I had no equity. That wasn't my model, which again forced me to fix my model. And those other big companies have their own distribution
Right.
methods. They didn't need me, so I got iced. And I would be like, that's fine because there's always a new product coming to market that we can get behind. And so I had this great funnel coming in and products that were leaving our ecosystem. And then when that moment happened, I said, this is ridiculous. Like $1 billion, we were their first domino, right? We were instrumental in their growth and their success. So that's when I went into the music industry. I'm like, well, then we're just going to launch a band like an idiot, I would say, and then we're just going to build products around them. And that's actually what started to create my formula of I want to own as much of the pie as possible, and then invite people that I want to work with into my world rather than me being used and brought into
Yeah.
their world. So that was the first movement I finally made. So we launched a band, partnered with Barry Habib, who was a producer of Rock of Ages. He's a really good friend, still a great supporter in the work that we do today. And we actually knocked it out of the park. We launched a band called Con. They were like the modern day Partridge Family. They became a
Okay.
Macy's iHeart for fastest rising star in 1 year. However, this is why I need to be hands on everything I'm involved with. I never take advisory roles. I don't take board roles. Like I need to be in the trenches with management.
Mhm.
So producers that we were working with, or people that were supposed to be helping, were just taking money and not doing anything. Opportunities that I would have closed because I'm a closer. I sit with people. We work out a deal. Like what's fair for you, what's fair for me. Let's go get a drink and celebrate and get to work. But people that were supposed to close these deals to keep that momentum going for that band weren't doing anything except taking money from us. Producers or music producers, I think, could be some of the cruelest people in the industry because they just take money from people and play it on people's hopes, or they try to target wealthy parents that have a kid that want to sing, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get your kid on the charts. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get them on the radio.
Right.
You just keep paying us." So that once they get the parent signing those checks or wiring that money, they know they got them because that kid's in that house kicking and screaming that dad or mom, you got to send XY producer a check. So when I started to get more hands-on, because I'm like, what happened? We were supposed to get a TV series behind this film. We were supposed to get this. We are supposed to get that. I would see producers that were playing. It was crazy. They would sit in a room with an artist and write a song. I'll put that in quotes. Write a song, produce that song, and then it would just go into a black hole. Then I would see them do the same thing with another artist and pretend to write the same song. I'm like, what is going on here with a different family, different money coming in? So I started calling people out on this because that's my ethical. That's to my demise, that ethical integrity side that I have. And then I became like really hated with some of these top producers in the industry that were just garbage people. I'm like, you have to kill me, man. You don't play with people's dreams. You don't play with people's hope. So that's a couple of things happened during that movement. Was I changed my model because then I started having equity in everything that I do.
Okay.
I became hands-on in everything that I do, no matter how time-consuming it is. Because if my name's attached to it, then that's my brand. I can't have things go sideways, and if they go sideways, I get it. Nothing's perfect. I need to make sure I can fix it, correct it, and be transparent about it. So it really forced me to become also more public. I started telling my stories. I'm like, well, if I have a little bit of an audience and I have this world that I live in, let me share these stories. So A, people stop effing with me, and B, maybe these stories can help somebody else get through their situation or give them a little inspiration or a little hope. So yeah, I'm always grateful for the crap I've been through because I find a way to brush it off, learn from it, try to make sure that doesn't happen again, and then share those moments and stories with people to try to help somebody.
Okay. Brian, you've been called a connector of executives worldwide. What's your approach to building relationships that truly last and create mutual benefit?
Never go into a relationship expecting anything or demanding anything. You gotta nurture the relationship. Some people that I connected with 20 in the professional sense, north of 20 years, and we've never done business together, but they've introduced me to people that were an added value. We follow each other on social media. I learned from them. They learned from me. So when you're nurturing a relationship, go out, like I said early on, with your hand out on how can I help, not with your hand out on how can I take. And take the time, man. Comment on their post. Wish them a happy birthday, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Easter. Saw you had a kid, saw you had a grandkid. Be relevant, be a squeaky wheel, show that you're genuine, show that you care, so that when there is an ask that you may have of them, they'll respond because you've proven yourself to be a decent human being with some care and some genuine emotion, and you've shown them. It's all about time. When you give somebody your time, it's the most precious commodity. It's the most valuable gift. So work it. People. I go on LinkedIn every day, and there is a novel from everybody on. I need $1 million. Here's my deck. All this stuff. If I just get 1% of it, they didn't even say, "Hey, how are you?" Like it was just, boom, drop it. Just mic drop of their demands, and I'm like, God, if it was only that easy. And what are you doing? Like, at least ask me how I'm doing. Like, just pretend a little bit. But the unfortunate. This happened in the .com bubble. This happened with a lot of the crypto phase, the NFT stuff, the AI stuff. People are just expecting an overnight influx of capital or overnight success. That is not, even in my world, not reality. You have to work it. There's nothing more valuable than working a deal or an opportunity and building it because you appreciate every step of it. Everybody that got gifted wealth without earning it or appreciating it, they deplete it. They don't respect it. So you have to work hard. You have to.
Yeah, those relationships, you definitely have to build them, nurture them, and they don't happen overnight, like you're saying. Just like you said, go on to Facebook, LinkedIn, just make a few comments, make a comment here and there, and with a few people, and they'll remember, even if they don't know you right away, they'll start to notice like, oh, well, Cedric, he comments on my post periodically. Let me, and they'll eventually come and take a look at your page and be like,
100%.
okay, let me see what Cedric's up to.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Cedric's doing this deal or that deal. Well, I might be interested in investing alongside him or her, or that person. So yeah, it's about
Even
building relationships and genuine
genuine.
relationships.
And pick up the phone and call somebody. You will be
Yes.
so surprised because that is a far. I've been doing that forever. It was a foreign move 10 years ago. It's still a foreign move today. When you do that, you stand out. I don't care. I mean, I get you're scared. What are they gonna do? Reach through your cell phone and punch you in the face? Like, what are you scared of? Just do it.
Right.
And it's cool to hear that you show up, right? That's what it boils
Yes.
down to. You show up, you give the time, you give the energy, and you support, and you'll get that back. That's life, that's karma, that's universe, that's God, whatever you want to talk about. It comes back in so many different forms.
Yeah. So, Brian, given Esposito Intellectual's presence in industries from beauty, media to aerospace and blockchain, how do you decide which markets to enter next? Because there's a lot that's going on out there.
There's a lot.
So, how do you decide which market to go into next?
Industry agnostic forever. So that's just who I'm going to be. I answer that question with more of the lines of which ones not to go into. So I've always been not involved in things like tobacco or firearms or the adult entertainment industry. So there's certain industries that we just won't touch for multiple reasons. But other than that, basic business principles are so put a little asterisk, for profit basic business principles. They're all the same. You want to be in business, you need revenues. You want to stay in business, you need to be profitable. That applies everywhere, right? And then what's really cool about this little GE world I've built is all these different companies and resources and management and talent. Like company A may look like it has no connection to company X, but these two can come together, maybe bring in company G and create something. That's awesome. That is all, the ability for us to bring something to market with the right resources, the right access, the right cost controls is so cool. But you don't get there unless you have the direct access. And I got rid of all the fluff middle nonsense that just depletes your margins, it depletes your time, and it makes things unsustainable and not successful because there's just too many hands in the pie. So when you have direct control over your destiny on what you want to do, and you can't do that overnight. That took me 25 plus years. But actually, it's taken me I'm 43. It's taken me my whole life to do what I'm doing today. So when we do have moments where something happens really successful and it just takes off, that's not an overnight success. That's my life. That's the other people that are involved's life. That's our expertise. That's our learning experiences. All my mistakes and failures are all baked into every next move that we make. So when you do that, again, as long as your greed and ego can just go away and not be involved in that formula, and you don't need to say, hey, no, I created that. No, we created that. And look at what we're doing. As long as you can do that, you can move mountains with people. And I love even some of my relationships and worlds that we almost fist fighting, but we got through it. That's the cool thing. Like the moments where you have problems with people create stronger bonds. As long as the other person, again, has some level of decency and they're rational. Like if you're dealing with an irrational person, just turn around and walk away. There is nothing you can ever say to that person that's going to make sense to them, that's going to sound reasonable to them, and that you're going to be able to accomplish some sort of a compromise. Look up irrational. An irrational person, you just walk away from because there's no possibility of winning, and plus you don't need that person in your life.
Yeah, somebody has to be the rational person, and like you're saying, and that person's totally irrational.
Yeah, you need two rational people to sit down and say, hey, we're going to do this, or there's a problem, we're going to fix this. If two people can't be rational, then you are wasting time. And that's the biggest sin right now.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said already. Time is your most precious commodity,
Yes, sir. Say it louder.
Yeah. So what's one industry outside of your comfort zone that you currently like and find most exciting, and why?
What we're doing is in tokenization and tokenizing real assets, like commercial real estate. Some of our biggest moves. I don't want to say it's out of my comfort zone, but
Okay.
it is. We're dealing with the big boys, which is cool, like the big banks of the world or the big institutions of the world. And our little company and our little team are, we are toe to toe with them, which is pretty badass, right? Because that's what's really cool about tokenization and this whole movement behind it is it democratizes the good old boy network. It makes the one percenters like, oh boy, this is for the world. So when you can properly lead on that, and I guess what if we want to use the word uncomfortable, there's a responsibility for companies like us and hopefully my leadership that we stand behind what we're preaching. Where I want somebody in Africa or India or somebody living in a little remote village in I don't know, make up a New Zealand, to own a 0.00001% of a building in Manhattan, right, or a resort in Hawaii. Like these are dreams of mine, where somebody that never had sense of ownership in anything can have fractional ownership in something. They can create some sort of balance sheet for themselves, and they can earn from it. I mean, that's a holy shit moment for humanity. So we want to lead on that. And what's great about Diamond Lake and with my partner Michael Reynolds, like we're not affected by anybody. Like we don't need we own majority of this public vehicle. We're not being demanded by outside capital to do moves that we don't want to do or against our thesis and who we are as a company. So the fact that we're standing behind what we want to do and going toe to toe with some big conglomerates is cool. It's uncomfortable. It's exciting, and the support that we're getting is amazing. So yeah, this is my life's work. So we'll see where it goes. But right now, it's a very exciting times.
All right. You were ranked among the top 10 CEOs globally from 2020 to 2022. Has that recognition changed the way you lead?
No, it's actually from 2020 to 2025 now. So that's been
Uh,
the window. Humble. It's something that peers continue to support. It's Adrian Management. It's the top CEO. So it's people from all over the world that get nominated for this. So the way I communicate, the work that I do, my ethics, all these things I think help support that continuously happening. And it's nice to be continued to be seen. Everybody likes to be seen and acknowledged for the sacrifices that we make and the work that we do. So no, it doesn't make me not be myself, right? If that never happened or it happened for the next 20 years, I'm still the same person that I was 8 years old, except a little beat up.
yeah. You helped build, and I don't know the name, Nodal, now one of the world's largest wireless networks of connected devices. What was your role in that project, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so I've been involved in wireless communication, and I always feel terrible bringing this up, but since the Twin Towers came down in 2001, um, being from Asbury Park, Central Jersey, and a lot of people and families that we knew, especially with Canner, and just terrible. One of my friend's dads was a Port Authority officer, so obviously we all have stories that were affected by it. That aside, I saw Nextel at a 20 years old.
Right.
And I said, oh, that's important. That push to talk radio is important because there was no connectivity, right? When you started to have the networks oversaturated or down, so there's no power, there's no cellular, now there's no Wi-Fi. We have very expensive MP3 players in our hand that can't connect to a network. So that started me on my journey on creating parallel wireless networks, connecting people where there's no connectivity, being able to locate and communicate. So very expensive and painful journey. I created a company called Pico out of Nashville, which we connecting devices, again, with no internet or cellular. We're moving data very rapidly from one device to the next in airplane mode. Then that evolved into working with Nodal, who's founded by Misha Benoliel and Garrett Kinsman. We joined forces, and like you mentioned, it's become the world's largest wireless network. It's connecting billions of devices around the world. There's a Nodal Cash app you can download, which is like a Pokemon Go with your phone. You're just walking around your daily life, and every time it connects to an IoT device or a sensor, it rewards you Nodal Cash cryptocurrency for utilizing your phone as a gateway. So pretty powerful tech, pretty amazing tech for asset tracking. And my role still to this day is supporting the company, bringing opportunities to the company. It's one of my largest private holdings. Misha is a incredible visionary and CEO and leader. And I think Nodal's still only just beginning on what that's going to evolve to be and the importance of that technology.
Okay. Earlier on, I had mentioned, or one of us had mentioned, you taking over as the CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals. How does managing a public company differ from running a private holding company like EIE?
On paper, drastically different, but in reality, very similar to my management style and how I lead anyway. So Diamond Lake is the first time in my career that I've ever taken outside capital or investor capital. So there's that difference. So it's leading with integrity, understanding your fiduciary responsibility, which I've always done in my private holdings because there was always my own capital, right? That was exposed or being leveraged or being threatened. So I have that care and wherewithal to respect people that have invested in us, companies that have invested in us, or the retail investor that's looking at our stock and maybe adding it to their portfolio. I love disclosures. I want to be the first public company that discloses its financials on blockchain daily. Like, well, I don't think, why would you have to wait 3 months to see if the CEO did a good job? There's things that I want to utilize blockchain and Web3 and apply it to the work that we're doing, where our investors, our partners, our stakeholders can see what we're doing as if they were sitting next to our CFO. I think that's what companies should do. So, we're leading the way on bringing tokenization to equities and securities. We're leading the way on tokenizing real-world assets. We've partnered and made a co-investment with a company called Horizon FinTech's Upstream, which is a licensed and regulated exchange for tokenization. I've been saying everything's going to be tokenized for the last 13 years. Larry Fink says it 2 years ago, and now that's happening, right? So I'm glad he said it. He said it's a $16 trillion industry by 2030. I think it's actually a lot more. And we want to help companies grow through tokenization. We want to provide opportunities for token holders to invest into real companies and real projects when they never had a chance to do that before. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier on legacy, right? What do I want to? What kind of mark do I want to leave on this world? There's this where we can create wealth for humanity. There's things that I work on that I think everybody should have access to fresh, clean drinking water. It's always been core to my work and efforts. Everybody should have some sort of home to live in. Everybody should have food. There's so much wealth in the world where people have to be sacrificing. So I hope our little company can show the way to do things, and then bigger companies can hopefully replicate what we're working on.
Okay. You just mentioned the clean drinking water. You're involved in philanthropy and environmental initiatives such as planting trees, planting tree goals. Why is giving back part of your mission?
It's always been. I found a way to give people more than I ever had. It's just who I am. So I don't know how to answer that. It's just there's no ulterior motive behind it. I don't need an award or recognition for it. I just feel like it was just, if everybody just paid it forward, I think you eliminate a lot of suffering and pain in this world. People just want to keep. They want to keep and store like a greedy little squirrel all the nuts while his friends starve to death. Like, doesn't make sense to me. So I can't explain it to you. Besides, it's just who I am. It's what my soul is. I can't give you any more details about that.
Okay. So, Brian, before we get out of here, I mean, this has been fabulous.
Thanks, pal.
But before I let you get out of here, looking ahead, what big, bold vision do you have for the next decade for EIE and your own career?
Yeah. Oh, I'm a one day at a time. I should have died in a car accident in 2016. So I don't 10 years. That is not a promise. So for me, our initiatives are always the same, one day at a time. A lot of the stuff we talked about are our bold initiatives. Just going to continue to grow. We'll get slapped around a little bit here and there as we continue to grow. That's normal. And continue to just be very smart about who we work with. That's key. That's key to our success, and it's key to our demise. You pick the wrong person to work with, that could ruin everything. So that's the boldest statement I can say, is we got to be very smart on who we decide to let into our world, and who we work with. But I'm excited. There's nothing more contagious or infectious for me when I work with a founder or a startup guy or girl that feels depleted, and then you drop it into our world, and all of a sudden you turn their entire life, their company around. It's the best feeling in the world, and we're just going to keep doing that until I drop dead.
All right. Well, Brian, it has been a blast having you as our guest today. And as we close out, please tell our listeners where we can learn more about you, get in touch with you, and learn about all the fabulous things you have going on right now.
Absolutely, Cedric. And I have to definitely emphasize, thank you so much for your service. It means the world to me. We honor all of our veterans and military members around the world. So thank you for that sacrifice. For me, Brian J. Esposito, you can find it on all socials. DiamondLake.com is our public company. The ticker symbol is DLMI. And my private holding company is EIE.rocks. And again, reach out to me. I don't have an assistant. I don't have an AI agent. I respond to everybody painfully. My thumbs are tired as hell, but I love hearing from people, and I love connecting with people. And any way I can help them, it's always what I love to do.
Awesome, Brian. Again, I want to thank you for your time today and all the wisdom you have provided to my listeners. It's greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you, our fans, for tuning in to the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, where we want to add value to you and your investing business. Please tune into our next episode where we will interview another fantastic investing professional. See you next time. Thanks for listening to the Service to Syndication podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate your support, and we are grateful about being a part of your journey to becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will get a lot out of what you just heard. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be in all areas of life. And if this was really valuable, share it on your social media stories and timelines. Thank you for watching and listening. Now go be great.